Hey, welcome back to another video in our cold calling series. Thanks so much for all of your feedback in our last video, and please feel free to leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the different costs associated with cold calls versus sending off cold emails. So you've probably seen the statistic that cold emails are approximately 18 times cheaper than cold calling. I know you've seen that stat somewhere, it's everywhere. LinkedIn posts, sales blogs, pretty much every tool vendor on the planet is pushing that narrative. And it sounds like the argument is pretty much over, but here's the thing. That stat is measuring the wrong thing. And I think people publishing it know that. So today I'm going to walk you through the one metric that nobody in the sales tool industry really wants you to see. Because if you saw it, you'd stop buying what they're actually selling. So let me start with the number everyone quotes. So the cost per e-meeting when you do a comparison between email and cold calls. For email, it's about $153, and for cold calls, it's about $2,700. That's a staggering difference. That's the stat from Instantly's 2025 benchmark report, and it gets repeated constantly throughout LinkedIn and so forth. Case closed, right? I mean, it seems that email wins hands down, except the cost per meeting is not really the cost per deal. And that distinction matters more than the entire sales tool industry really wants to admit. So let me walk you through the email funnel with some real numbers to back up what I'm saying here. So let's say you send around 1,000 cold emails. The average B2B response rate in 2025 was around 5%. So 50 people would reply, and most of those replies are not interested or take me off your list. Of those 50 replies, maybe 15 would turn into actual meetings. That's actually a 1.5% meeting rate, which is right in line with what the data shows. Now, here's where it starts to get pretty interesting. Of those 15 meetings, the meeting to close ratio for email originated leads is only about 25%. So you're going to close around three, maybe four deals if you're lucky. So your total cost was about $500 in tools. So your cost per deal is about 125 to 165 approximately. Not bad. Until you look what you actually burned to get there. Now let's look at all of at that call funnel. So let's say you're making 50 really well researched calls, not 500, not 1,000, 50 calls only. The connect rate is about 16%. So you reached 8 to 10 actual human beings. And of those conversations, you book 2 to 3 meetings. That's a 5% dial to meeting rate. But here's the number that changes everything. The meeting to close rate for phone originated pipeline is around 50% for qualified prospects. And the show rate is 80% when someone agrees to meeting on a phone call. They actually show up. When someone clicks yes on an email, half the time they ghost you. So from 50 calls, you're closing 1 to 2 deals. Your cost was about $200, roughly 4 hours of a rep's time, and your cost per deal is about $100 to $200. So let me put those slides side by side for you. Email, 1,000 prospects touched, 15 meetings, 3 to 4 deals, 125 to 165 per deal. Cold call, 50 prospects touched, 2 to 3 meetings, 1 to 2 deals, and about $100 to $200 per deal. The cost per deal is nearly identical. So why does everyone say email wins? Because they stop measuring at cost per meeting. That's very simple. They never follow the money to a closed deal, which is what ultimately your objective and goal is. And that brings us to the metric that nobody's tracking, meeting to close rate by originating channel. I spent hours researching this. I went through every major sales benchmark report from 2025, Instantly, Belkin's, Sales Hive, Cognism, Cleverly, Martel Group, Close.com, you name it, I kind of reviewed it. This metric does not exist in any published industry benchmark. Nobody tracks it. Nobody's actually publishing it. And the reason is pretty simple. If phone-originated meetings close at twice the rate of email-originated meetings, and the fragmentary data strongly suggests that they do, then the entire email is 18 times cheaper narrative falls apart. The tool vendors can't publish this data because their business model depends on you believing that volume is going to equal results, that more emails equals more revenue, that you need $149 a month platform to send 10,000 messages. And the most CRMs don't even tag it properly. They track lead source, but they don't follow an individual meeting back to the specific channel that originated it, all the way through to close revenue. The industry measures what's easy: sends, opens, clicks. Following the deal too close and attributing it back to a channel, that takes work nobody wants to do because the answer is that it's super inconvenient. Now, I want to be transparent. I'm piecing this together from fragments across multiple sources because the clean comparison really doesn't exist anywhere. Email originated meetings, roughly 25% close rate. It takes about 500 emails to land one client. Call originated meetings, 50% close rate on qualified prospects, 80% show rate, 20% overall close rate on cold call initiated pipeline. Phone calls produce meetings that close at twice the rate. The data is scattered, but it all points in the same direction. And here's why nobody cares: because of what I call the looking busy problem. Look at an email dashboard: 10,000 sends, 2,700 opens, 500 replies, 15 meetings. That looks incredible on a weekly report. Your VP of sales sees those numbers and think the team is crushing it. Now look at a call report: 50 calls, 8 conversations, 2 meetings. That looks terrible. It looks like your rep did nothing all week. Same revenue, different optics. Senior leadership wants to see activity. They want big numbers. They want dashboards that light up. Cold calling doesn't photograph very well, even when it produces the same results. There's one more thing nobody talks about: the reputational math, the email path. You touched 1,000 people, 950 of those people ignored you, 30 marked you as spam, 3 or 4 became customers. So 996 people now associate your brand with an unwanted email. That's negative attention. The call path: you touched 50 people, 42 didn't answer, 8 had a real conversation with a human being, 1 or 2 became customers. In industries with small addressable markets, reputation really does compound. Spam doesn't. So if your total addressable market is 5,000 people and you burn through 1,000 of them every quarter with automated email sequences, you run out of goodwill pretty fast. But if 50 well-prepared phone calls, that builds your reputation over a period of time. This applies whether you're in construction, manufacturing, financial services, enterprise technology, or professional services, any of those industries. Any industry that realistically has a longer sales cycle than 30 days, something that has complex buying committees and relationships driven selling. The dynamics are the same across all of them. Your market is really finite. You only have so many people that you could contact. And in that instance, your reputation matters. And the person who picks up the phone with something intelligent to say will always beat the person who sends 10,000 emails and hopes for the best. So, what do you actually do with this information? One, I would suggest research before you reach out. I mean, it takes 10 minutes of preparation will beat 100 emails. Know the company, the person, their current situation. Two, pick up the phone. 82% of buyers accept meetings from cold calls. It's a little bit harder, but the results show for that. And then 57% of C-level executives prefer phone contact. The channel works. It's been proven to work. It just doesn't scale the way that VCs want it to. So 3, measure revenue, not activity. So track the cost per closed deal by channel, not cost per meeting, not sends, not opens, revenue. That's the metric that matters the most. In the next video, I'm going to sign up for Clay, Apollo, and 8 other sales tools and walk you through what actually happens when you try to use them for your pre-call research. So subscribe now so you don't miss it. I'm Robert Koo. This is Mind the Gap. 25 years, 6 industries, what actually works. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.